This is now the third time recording. I've tried this 3 freaking times. I may not even go through this entire show as a review. I put review on this video, but I don't know if this is going to be a full review. I don't know, because when you look at this show, people have said things are good when it comes to Vince being back. Don't worry so much. I've told people from the moment things went south when Vince had to leave, do not underestimate anything going wrong. I have not been wrong yet. When you look at this show, it is obvious something is missing. There's some element of WWE is gone. It is missing. You got legends there we haven't seen in a bit, other than last year. We got storylines that feel like they're very important, but then wasn't certain things supposed to be done on this 30th anniversary of Raw, like the acknowledgement ceremony? What was this? We had a steel cage match that didn't happen. And then we end on the U.S. title picture, which, honestly, we got the same kind of thing that happened twice now with Brock Lesnar. I'm only going to review some of this show, some of it, and give my thoughts on it. And then you guys can leave your comments below, either telling me I am a stupid, out-of-touch idiot who really doesn't care about WWE and don't know why I'm doing reviews, or you may agree with me and say, dude, and I say this to anyone, don't look at highlights. I'm telling you right now, I know people say, dude, I can't look at this show. I got to look at highlights. No, because most of the show is old clips of most of Raw throughout the years, from the 90s to the 2000s to the 2010s up until recent time. They played a lot of clips. So even though the person who's going to do the highlight for you will try to keep that out, you need to see this. You need to see how this show ended, because it was more nostalgic video recordings of the past bits of Raw that we'd rather see than this. I'm telling you, don't look at highlights. And I know you're not going to listen to me, but I'm just telling you, you really want to know how this show really was to get a good grasp of it. Look at the full show. Don't look at no damn highlights, because you will be cheating yourself of how pissed off you'll get if you're like me. I'm like, what? This is 3 minutes in and I haven't even done the review. Look, opening. We didn't get the acknowledgement ceremony. Supposing we're supposed to get one. We didn't get it. We got a trial for Sami Zayn. They're in the ring. Paul Heyman pretty much brings up 4 videos of Sami running away and not helping the bloodline. And once he shows that, and you see that Sami is really hurt on what Paul did, and he made it very clear that if you want to know what my defense is about that, I have no defense. He sits down, Roman gets pissed off, calls Solo. Well, let me crank back this. I'm not saying this segment wasn't good. It was wonderful. It was. But why is it here on the 30th anniversary? But getting back to that. He looks at Sami and says, you're not going to defend yourself? After everything I let you be in this family? After everything I let you do? After everything I've done for you? Solo? Take his damn head off. And he comes up to him, grabs him on the shoulder. Sami stands up like this, looks at Solo. No, yeah, Solo was on his right shoulder. He looks at Solo. He goes like this, waiting to get the spike to the face. And as I've been saying, who is the one I told you is the catalyst for Sami doing what he's going to do? It is Jey Uso. Not Jimmy. Jey Uso. And he says, big dog. And he's talking about Roman. I got footage too. But I want you to see this. And he showed all the time Sami saved him, Jimmy, the bloodline took bullets for them. And he said it clearly to Roman Reigns, to his big cuz, that all this time, you know me, I didn't even like him I despised him at one point. But he saw something good in me, and he didn't give up trying to bring it out. He's taking bullets for this family. He's taking bullets for me. He pretty much is Teflon. He can't get hurt. Don't do it. And Roman says simply, I find you innocent for now. But after tonight, after what you got to do here, you are going home. I will not see you at any show. I don't want you to go anywhere until Royal Rumble. Don't. And then, when you're at Royal Rumble, you will prove to me if you belong in the bloodline or you out. Simple as that. So the segment wasn't bad. The crowd participation in Philly was great. But where is the acknowledgement ceremony? Where everyone thought that Roman Reigns was going to be acknowledged by the Wild Samoans. One of them is his uncle. Another is his dad. Rikishi, the Tonga Kid, and who else? Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Something. None of that. Then we had a match between the Usos and when you see the match, not bad. I gotta say this when it came to Judgment Day, when it came to Dom, he's really owning his new character as a hardened criminal. That bitch wouldn't stand a chance in Rikers Island. Understand, I live in New York and I've never been to Rikers. I've not broken any laws. But even I know that little son of a bitch wouldn't stand a chance 1 minute in Rikers. He'd be crying like a bitch. But that's the character I'm talking about. The actual person, he doesn't deserve to go to jail. But the character he's playing is nothing but a bitch. But he's owning it. And his wrestling style kind of reflects it. His clothing kind of reflects it. And the match was fine. But here's where it gets interesting. Jimmy decides at one point in the match to do pretty much a helo over the top turn rope. But supposedly hurt his left knee. Couldn't wrestle. Then, what do we get? We get Sammy Uso taking his place. The Freebird rule engaged. We got the Freebird rule for the Usos. And this is what I like. When it came to Adam Pearce coming out, he told both of them, he told Jimmy and Jay, if you can't defend, you forfeit and you lose your titles. And Sammy grabs the mic and said, look, Jimmy is not here. Jimmy can't do it. But Sammy Uso can. Let me in that match. Let me defend the titles. He lets him do it. They win. It's fine. I didn't hate the match. And it actually goes along with the segment that happened earlier, which shouldn't been there because isn't it supposed to be, again, an acknowledgement ceremony? Isn't that supposed to be on the 30th anniversary? If they do it on SmackDown, I'm going like, really? Now, even though I skipped the beginning of the show with Hulk Hogan, he does come out, he does talk, and then the mic kind of kicks off on and off. That I thought that was maybe a possible work, but if it's not a work, that's just bad timing for Hulk Hogan, who has not been on the show for more than a few years, due to the fact a lot of problems with Hulk Hogan. Bringing him back was good. Him speaking was fine with the mic cutting in and out. So either that was an actual work, and they did it on purpose because they may be doing something at Royal Rumble, or it's an actual messed up mic. Either way, it's like you're starting like this. It's not good. Now, let's talk briefly. Talk briefly about what we saw most of the show. We had Eiffel 65. This kind of goes for me. As you guys, some of you know, I do animation. I do dance animation. It's on my other channel. One of those songs is Eiffel 65, I'm Blue. I've actually done it twice. I did the remix version and the original version that came out in the 2000s. Guess what music they used? They used the tempo and most of the kind of material. I think they had someone do it separately from Eiffel. But that was the music they used for all the videos that we saw from 97, 99, 2002, 2010, 2018, 2021, 2020, 2018. They showed scenes from all the different times Raw has had. Fine. The graphic animation of the VCR was a nice touch. And they showed a lot of it. We got more of that. Look, we got, I can't believe they did this. First we get Hulk Hogan, then we get maybe 6 to 8 minutes. I think easily 6 minutes or 8 minutes. I didn't even keep track of the entire video package of showing different times during Raw's era of 30 years. Then we had a Roman Reigns segment. Then we had the match. Then later in the show, we got it again. And then we got another segment again. Not as long, something else, I believe. But essentially, that's what most of the show had. And I'm going like, really? I mean, there's nothing wrong with nostalgia, maybe once or twice. But they made it very apparent that this was the most important thing. Now, I don't know if anybody else is going to like it. It was okay the first time in the very beginning of the show. And they've shown this type of package last week. But now, I'm not agreeing with it. Let's move on. The LA Knight segment with The Undertaker and Bray Wyatt. Look, I'm glad to see Taker. And he became the American Badass Taker. We haven't seen him since 2020. I believe 2020, the last time we saw him. But that was in a cinematic. Not the Undertaker American Badass on Raw. We hadn't seen him in quite a long time. So he came out in a Harley, but an old... What can I say here? Was he riding a Harley that looked like for someone who's in his 50s? Yes. He didn't ride like a cool Harley, like someone who's currently really young and healthy and cool, like he used to. No. He drove out in an older style Harley that someone not only would do a long travel, but someone who's like an older gentleman. And I'm going like, really? I'm not saying that isn't his actual Harley. I know he's got multiple Harleys, but he really got a comfy Harley instead of his badass Harley out. So I'm like, I don't know what I'm looking at. But the key of this was LA Knight. LA Knight, who's my boy, who's Eli Drake. I'm always going to call him Eli Drake. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Eli Drake is Eli Drake. He's my boy. I loved him. But I want to be honest. When he called someone out, I kind of hoped it would have been Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's most of his stick is based off of, which is nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong taking a bit from someone who is fiercely popular and take it, twist it in a new way, and make it yours. And if someone thinks that's garbage, what do you think most of wrestling's been? You think The Rock did what he did before anyone else? Someone else did it. Come on. But the point is, I wanted to see Stone Cold Steve Austin because that's where most of his stick is. And if he had to be taken out, I want to see his ass get stunned. But no, we get the Undertaker. Badass, American badass Undertaker, which is fine. We haven't seen him on Raw in a while. Quite a while. We haven't seen him. He comes out in his older Harley, like I said, gets into the ring. Eli does his, LA Knight, I got to be respectful. LA Knight does his stick. And he says, how would it feel if you and I get in the same ring and I take the Undertaker to the Undertaker? Essentially, that's what he was saying. And he says, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to leave you alone. But then Bray Wyatt scares him into the ring. Undertaker holds him, gullet and all. He's squirming like a pig. And then once Bray gets in there, he throws him to Bray, gives him assist to Abigail. But then it gets very interesting. We get a little talk. Undertaker actually says something to Bray Wyatt's ear and then walks out of the ring. Have no idea what he said. No one knows unless you can read lips. But he says something to Bray. He leaves, walks away. Now, we know for a fact that Bray Wyatt had worked with The Undertaker. He did. He worked with Mark to try and develop his character. So they know each other pretty well. They actually work together. So maybe he's still helping him with that character. I think he is. But the question is now, what does that mean? Let's move on. Okay. Let's get to the match that did not happen that I think the show really needed. And that was a match of a steel cage between a Becky Lynch and a Bayley. I think that would have helped the show immensely to see this steel cage match. I was actually interested in seeing this. I wanted to see it. Nope. You did not get that steel cage. Once Damage Control went to the back as Bayley got into the ring, you thought they were just going to leave it. Nope. They come out. They beat the crap out of a Becky. Throw it in the ring. Beat the crap out of her again to a certain extent. Not that bad. They were being actually kind of gentle. If they really wanted to do something, they would have got a kendo stick from under the ring, gone inside the ring, and just wailed on her ass and then leave her laying out. Instead of just throwing up against the steel cage a couple of times and then powerbombing her at least once or twice. Wasn't enough. Becky should have been able to get up from that. Yes, she would be dazed, she would be hurting, but she should just say, I'm still ready. She's supposed to be the man. She acted like a bitch. And I'm not taking anything away from Becky Lynch. I actually like Becky Lynch a lot. But this is the way they booked her. A anticipated steel cage match that could have helped the show. Nope. Pierce comes, gets a bolt cutter because who was it that locked it up? It wasn't Io Shirai. No, Io Sky. It was Dakota Kai who locked the cage. I don't know how she got the cage. Well, she grabbed the chain with the lock. So they had to cut the thing. They go in, no match. No, nothing. Sorry. Do not watch highlights. Watch this show. Watch it and appreciate how easily you can get pissed off at a 30th anniversary that looks like crap. I still, there were segments in that were good. The Bloodline segment for the trial was great, but it's not supposed to be there. We're supposed to have the acknowledgement ceremony. Bray Wyatt being with the Undertaker was great, but I kind of wanted Stone Cold Steve Austin. It was still good. Then we got the DX segment. DX with Kurt Angle, which was interesting. I was interested in seeing it. I was interested in seeing how far they went with it, and they went far with it to the point where it looked, I don't know. Once they tried to set up Kurt Angle being a part of DX because he said he wanted to be part of DX, and then he really looked awkward. I don't know about you. If you haven't heard, Kurt Angle just did knee surgery last year, I believe. He just did knee surgery. He had messed up knees for a very long time. And he decided finally to get those knees fixed, both of them at the same time. And he couldn't have any medication. Because of his addictions with drugs and medication, he couldn't barely have any at all. So it was hard for him. But it looks like he's doing pretty well. But when you see him in the ring, the way he looked when he was standing with DX, it was like he was an awkward old man. He didn't know what he was doing. Maybe it's due to the fact that he has not been in wrestling for a while and he's out of it. And that's understandable. Like Road Dogg doesn't do it much. X-Pac doesn't do it much. When it comes to, well, the one who looks the best would be Triple H, because he still can do his character really well, and Shawn. But everyone there kind of looked a little awkward. But the one who looked the awkward, well, no, I should take that back. X-Pac and Road Dogg didn't look that bad. But you could tell where Kurt, he was awkward. And I do believe it's due to the fact that he hasn't been in the business for a bit. And he just recovered from knee surgery, so both knees. So he wasn't just great. But when Imperium came out, and they said they wanted them out of the ring because they wanted to keep the purity of their sport, you can see that this wasn't going to end well. Not before just for Imperium, but the segment. Because, of course, all those guys in there got issues. They can't wrestle. They can't take bumps like they used to. Once you hear Triple H say, nope, I can't do it. X-Pac said, I got something messed up. Road Dogg said, no, I can't do it. And he said, go back there, Butterbean. And that was Triple H himself. And then Triple H goes up into Gunther's face and he says, nah, I can't do it. I can't wrestle. I'm retired. No, I'm retired. Particularly retired now your wife is left the damn company. No matter if she had to go and do surgery or not, left the company, she could take a leave of absence. She left the damn company, guys. There were reports that she went for surgery. No problem, but you could still be part of the company. She left. I'm laying it all out. I ain't doing no Gump report. I'm laying it all out. But you get my point. Once they started calling for people, we got Seth Rollins, who I can understand. I could feel them. I could feel him with them. I could easily feel it. But the Street Profits? No, not feeling it with the Street Profits. But you could tell that they did their best with the match and did their best working with Kurt Angle, who was a ref. They were playing... They were kissing Kurt Angle's ass, both Imperium, Street Profits, and a Seth Rollins. Doing every move he did, and a few more that he didn't do. Like Triple H's pedigree. I'm like, really? That's a lot of ass kissing for a Kurt Angle who just came back because of double knee surgery. At least that's what I believe. I don't think he did his back, but I do believe he did double knees. I'm like, really? I don't know about you. When you see the segment, please watch the show. Don't highlight it. In this situation, you gotta watch at least most of this show. If you can't watch all of it, fine. But don't do a highlight. Particularly if the highlights is of Raw from the 90s to 2000, 2010s up to 2020. And back to the 90s and to the 2000 and 2010s. You need to watch the show, particularly if someone can't get it. I'm just saying. You know who won. You know the Streets and Seth won. It's obvious. Now, here's something that pissed me off even more. We got the Nate coming out. Nate did come out. He introduced his daughter, which we all knew that he was going to do. And I'm going like, is she going to have a match on Raw? No. She did not. She comes out, talks, but Bianca comes out, says, girl, you looking good. You looking like your queenness. And this is my show. You know, you're on my show. I'm not taking nothing from you. She didn't say it, but you get my point. But this is Raw, and I'm keeping it down. At least until Sonya Deville comes out. And I knew, are they really going to have a Sonya Deville match? I thought it was going to be with Charlotte, but no. Due to the fact that Charlotte is a SmackDown champ, she says, well, you want a championship shot? You want to have a match? You want a moment? Here. Go with the other champ. And she easily obliged. And I'm going like, really? We're skipping a steel cage match for the women to do a regular match that's not for the title with Bianca Belair, who deserves better, and Sonya Deville, who should be focusing more with Charlotte, even though the story sucks, because she's acting like Charlotte in real life. That's what this is all about. Sonya is doing the Charlotte bit of Ashley, the actual Ashley's attitude to wrestling. That's what she's doing, being entitled. And in the end, you know who won. I don't even need to say it. The only thing that was a bit interesting was Alexa Bliss saying that she doesn't need nobody. Well, I take that back. Pretty much, Bianca said simply, when it comes to a Royal Rumble, I am going to take out the one that's my challenger, and that is a Alexa Bliss. I don't care about if she brings whoever she wants or not. I'm going to prove that I'm the best woman. I'm the EST of WWE and Raw. And then that's when Bliss says she doesn't need Howdy, she doesn't need Bray, she doesn't need the Funhouse. Basically saying she doesn't need nobody. Did I like the segment? It was okay. But to be honest, until I see more of Howdy working with her, I don't really care that much about her. We need Howdy. Uncle Howdy should be the focus right now, and how he's going to interact with Bray eventually. But it wasn't that bad. Let me see here. What else am I forgetting here? I'm sure I'm forgetting something, and guys deal with it. Let me see. You know what? That's it. I think that's it. If I'm forgetting else, I'm sorry. Pretty much the U.S. title match of Bobby versus Austin. Now, we got a little segment before the match happened between MVP and Lashley, pretty much saying, I don't need you, I don't need Omos, I can handle my business. So he says, no problem, go handle your business. Goes out, no DQ match, good, no DQ match. I had no problem with it. It wasn't 100% bad. Austin did a good job. So did Lashley. But I'm going like, are they really going to make Austin job here? There's got to be something. Is Seth going to come out? Nope. The same thing that happened last time. Brock Lesnar comes out. Surprises Lashley. Well, technically, Lashley was already laid out along with Austin Fury because they both went for a table. Well, one of them went for the table. The other one was wiped out because he got a nut shot with the leg. The mule kick. But pretty much, Brock Lesnar F5s a Lashley. Then he F5s a Austin Fury onto Lashley. And he wins the title. Well, he keeps the title more than he wins. You see, I don't care. What was this? What was this? What was that? Better yet, whatever title I'm going to use. This didn't feel like a 30th anniversary. We barely had any of the legends in the back. Yes, they were gambling. Yes. We got Ron and everyone else like we normally do. And they had the gambling session that they had for the last couple of months. Remember, we had a gambling session with JBL and Baron Corbin in the back. And they pretty much used the same old set. I thought they'd do something entirely different, but they just used the old set and did what they would normally do. It didn't feel special. What was that? This show didn't feel special. It felt like something major was missing. And it's not Vince. Vince wasn't the thing that was missing from this show. I don't know what is missing. If Vince booked this, I would not be surprised. If Triple H booked this, I would not be surprised. You know why? Because Vince made such a mockery for the last 10 years. Hang on. I got to stop this camera because I'm about to go over my 2 minutes. Hang on. You know, I normally don't say something like this on camera because I let it run out, the camera, because it only can go up to 30 minutes. And I am usually continue from that. But I had to do it like this because, guys, I'm saying this now. This show is screwed up so badly because of Vince McMahon. Now, I know people would say, well, Triple H has had a couple of months, 5 or 6 months to do it. It's not the point. Anything Triple H does is going to be a big mess. This 30-year anniversary doesn't feel like something special. We should be getting the legends once every 2 or 3 years. Something special. But no. Vince has called the legends back every year since 2012. Almost every year since 2012. Of course, the pandemic made that very difficult. But you get my point. Every year, since roughly around 2010 to 12, we've been getting the legends back constantly, every freaking year, which ruins how special it is when they come back. The Undertaker should have been retired years ago, but he kept coming back, either because Vince called him back or he came back because he didn't know how to let go. If he had not been seen for maybe 4 or 5 years and he came back, that would have been special. But it wasn't. It's only maybe a couple of years since he'd been gone. And even then, he had to finally say, I quit. I'm done. But he still came back. Doesn't mean he wouldn't be able to do something when they go to possibly Saudi Arabia. He may do something. Particularly if the Saudis do buy WWE. I'm not saying they are. We still don't know if Vince is even going to sell, let alone sell to the Saudis. We don't know. But how the show has been so badly screwed up by Vince. In this situation, when we have a good amount of legends, they don't feel important. And what happened to the show itself? We were supposed to get an acknowledgement ceremony from the Bloodline. We got a trial. We had a steel cage match that got ended quickly. We got more video segment from what Raw was like than we got of what Raw is. And most of the people there didn't feel substantial. Even with DX there, it didn't feel like it was important. This felt like a throwaway show. That's just me. I don't know how JD's going to see it. I don't know how Just Alex is going to see it. I don't know how anyone, Wrestling Inc., maybe they'll say it's one of the best shows and it's just me. Admittedly, I haven't been myself lately. I admit that. I've been under a lot of stress lately, and I won't lie about that. In fact, I can say it now because it's over. During around November, before Thanksgiving, I got hurt. I fell in the street. And due to the fact of the way I fell and got hurt, I tried to file a case against the place where the street was badly damaged. Didn't go anywhere. I had been screwed up for all that time. And maybe that's the reason why I'm not seeing Raw 30 for what it is. And I'll take ownership of that. If the show is actually good, you can tell me the reason why below. I just have not been able to feel it because I got hurt. Not seriously, I'm all right. But I didn't get anywhere. Case dropped. Nothing. Didn't work. Going against the city in New York? Guys, if you fall in New York, you got to make sure you broke 10 bones before you get help. Or a case that someone doesn't drop within the day. Yeah. Even being disabled and getting hurt on top of it. Unless I have 10 broken bones, you get nowhere. Nothing. But that's just me. Peace.